Hey guys, it's Persephone. I am super excited to finally be doing this video. I have been wanting to talk about the Wisdom Seekers Tarot for a while now. Also, Truth Seekers. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kind of review it and give you my thoughts and tell you why I think you need this deck. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about Wisdom Seekers versus Truth Seekers, okay? And why am I doing a review of two decks? Well, the reason is that they are essentially the same deck, okay? I don't have both boxes, or maybe I do, but I don't know where. I'm going to show you the covers of the books, okay? So the Truth Seekers is what it used to be. It's no longer in print, okay? And then this is the book for the Wisdom Seekers. This is the one that you can get, you know, Amazon or whatever. The first one I got was Wisdom Seekers, and then I don't know, I was just kind of looking at images and a couple of videos, and I wanted to get the Truth Seekers just because I love the Wisdom Seekers, and I thought I just wanted to see the differences and whatever. So honestly, not a lot of difference. The colors in the Truth Seekers are a bit more saturated. And the gold, I'll show you a card for an example. And you can't even tell, like, I don't even know if it's picking up on the video, but like there's gold on all the cards. That's kind of like special shiny. It's not even an overlay. I'm not even sure what it is. So not a big difference. The content in the books is the same. The Truth Seekers book is a little bit bigger, and this I'm not sure if you can tell, but okay, I'll show you this Major Arcana page, okay? So this is the page in the Truth Seekers, okay? And then this is the page in the Wisdom Seekers. Now, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but the font is it's very like thin and kind of gray in the Wisdom Seekers. I don't know why they changed it like that, but I was really glad when I got the Wisdom Seekers because I'm sorry, the Truth Seekers, because I had such a hard time reading this one. So like if you can get your hands on it for a reasonable price, honestly, it's worth it, the Truth Seekers, just because the book is more readable. Okay, so those are kind of the differences. Oh, and then one other difference, I don't think I brought my entire deck out of the Truth Seekers. The Truth Seekers is like the cardstock isn't as thick. They don't feel that different, but the Wisdom Seekers, like when you stack it up, like holy crap, that's a thick deck. I cannot shuffle this whole deck in its entirety. Like I will break it in half, and then I will shuffle that half, and then I will take the other half and shuffle it, and then I just kind of mix it up that way. So yeah, it's thick cardstock. It's a thick deck. This is what the backs of the Wisdom Seekers look like. Okay. Really just that plain orange textured look. And then now I trimmed my Truth Seekers. It was my first time ever, my only time so far trimming a deck. So it looks like this, only with a little white border. Now I trimmed this because when I got it, and maybe this is one of the reasons that they changed it and they did a new printing. Some of the borders were really, am I having a hard time focusing? Come on. There we go. really, really off center, the cards and the borders. So, and I got it used because it's not in print. The seller, because it was a brand new, still shrink wrap deck, you know, the seller actually offered to reimburse half, and I was like, fine, I'll keep it and I'll trim it. And I'm really glad I did, because I actually find it a little bit more, it's just like easier to shuffle and stuff like that, and easier to handle. I like the size of it in my hand. So this has become like a real working deck for me. Okay. So, and I will show you some differences in card. Let's see. What did I bring out here? La, la, la. It's a good one to show you. All right, I will show you the World card from each deck so that you can see. That should give you a good idea of the difference in color. Although, you remember, they would both have these borders, right? Like, it's not super obvious on the video. The font is also different down there. You can see. It's hard to get the sun. But anyway, it's really not that big of a difference. That color difference. So, all right. And at the end, I will do, I'm just going to do a full flip through of the Wisdom Seekers so that you can see all the cards. Okay. So first I'm going to go over what I don't like. And for me, it took me a while. I really just had to get over these things that I didn't like. So this is by David Fontana. Okay. He wrote the book. Now, the woman who did the artwork gets hardly any credit. Her name is not on the cover of the book, or, you know, I don't think it was on the box. It's not on the inside title page. I don't think it is on the Wisdom Seekers either. No. Okay, right. It's all about this David Fontana. Sylvie Dagnault, I believe is her name. Like, it's way teeny tiny down here at the bottom where it says commissioned artwork by, okay? She's the woman who did all of the artwork for this deck. This deck is 98% of what is so amazing about this is the artwork of the deck, okay? And I feel like she understood the cards in a way that David Fontana really didn't. Now there are some things about the book that I do like. I do like his treatment of symbols and the way he talks through the major arcana, which it's been a while. I read some of it in here and it was too hard to read and I stopped, and I was skimming back over this in preparation for this video, and I like the way he talks about the majors. I also really like the way he talks about numerology. Okay, now this is a big thing for me. I have been getting away from Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism a lot. Really seeking out decks that have more of an emphasis on the numerology and on the elements of the suits. That just works so much better for me. So that's one of the things I love about this deck. And he does treat the cards together as a group, which I really appreciate. So, like, this is what, you're not going to look up the Seven of Wands or the Seven of Swords individually, okay? You're going to look them up on the Sevens page. So if you're really looking for something that's going to help you specifically with numerology, like, this is really great. Okay, so that's really a pro. Now a con. Dude mixed up his wands and his swords. And I know some decks do that on purpose and they make wands clearly air and swords clearly fire. I don't know why. I would never get a deck that does that. I couldn't do that. But that's not even like, that's not what's happening with this deck. Whoops, I shook my camera. So I'll show you some examples of how you know, even though he writes in the book that swords are fire and wands are air. Okay, Sylvie was on her own. She was doing her own thing with this deck, right? And she knew that wands are fire. So like, Two of Wands, right? That is not air, people. That's a cauldron with a roaring fire under it and a volcano in the background. That's fire. The Eight of Wands. Look at that red, red, red sky. Look at those flames coming out of the tops of those wands. Okay, that is not air. That is fire. The swords aren't as clearly air, but they are yellow as opposed to that red. You've got clouds in all of them, very cloud heavy. Look at all those clouds, right? Sorry, I'm using this one and I'm covering up the... So, and this is a good example here. You see the Queen of Swords with those big puffy clouds above her, and it looks like the wind is blowing her, clothes. That's air. And then you've got this King of Wands, right? It looks like there's this fiery flame almost in that heat, the waves of heat behind him and all that red. I mean, yeah. So they were not on the same page there. And I mean, whatever. So I ignore that in the book, or I try to flip them in my mind. I might actually go through and just like white out Wands and Swords and write it in myself the way it should be so that I can, work with it a little bit more. But also, I mean, I don't know who this guy's editor was. I don't know what he was doing, but this makes me crazy. So he talks about this beautiful teaching from Taoism, right? And like, it really makes sense. I love it in the way he talks about the numbers. Okay. So he says, the one must give rise to the two before the manifest world can come into being. Two is therefore a symbol for fertility, for male and female, and also for that part of ourselves that enables us to turn and look at ourselves, allowing for self-reflection and ultimately self-consciousness. Okay, beautiful, right? And then he goes on more when we get to the threes and quotes. The one gave rise to two, the two gave rise to three, the three gave rise to 10,000 things. Thus, three symbolizes the creative process that begins after one becomes two and starts to culminate into 10,000 things, the whole of creation. Okay, that's beautiful, and I love it, and I love the way that works with the meaning of the numbers. However, he continually says that this is a Hindu notion, okay? No. This comes straight from Taoism, okay? I believe it's the Tao Te Ching. So that makes me crazy. So there are some things about the book and what he writes about that just don't work for me. But whatever. It's not about those things, right? It's about these cards, okay? Now, I have seen in some reviews, people will say like, oh, she just used rotated through these standard backgrounds for the pips and it doesn't make much sense and blah, blah, blah. That's not true. You just haven't figured it out yet. And I haven't figured them all out yet. I've actually thought about emailing the artist. Maybe I will get up the courage to do that at some point. But a couple of examples, okay, maybe a few examples of how it's clear to me that she was intentional behind what she was doing. Now, all of them, when you look at them, are so clearly associated with their elements, which I love. The deep, deep reds in the wands for fire, and like the images of like the volcanoes and the flames and things. It's all green. It's all green in the Pentacles for the luscious earth energy. Lots of water and blue for the cups, and then sort of the yellow, the clouds, and whatever for swords. So they're really clearly identifiable for their elements. Now, okay, 10 of Pentacles, right? The Pentacles are in that tree of life shape that you also see in like a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. You're going to see that. Oh, you might be able to see the Pentacles kind of shimmering. That's not an accident, right? That's intentional. The difference between the 9 and 10 of Cups, like you can see the 9 in a circle, right? This notion of completion, where 9s are a completion. And then sort of the 10s being this overabundance, right? With these cups just spilling over everywhere. I love that. And you see the other one where she uses that 9 as a circle. And it's not in the other two. I think it's interesting that it's in the 2 feminine energy suits. I feel like I'm just starting to scratch the surface of what she was doing with a lot of the symbolism in these cards. But it's there. And the revelation, when I realized that it was really there, and this woman, she freaking knew what she was doing, this card, okay? The 6 of Pentacles. Now, when I had first seen that, I was like, that's interesting. I wonder why she put those symbols in the middle of that circle of the 6 Pentacles, right? Well, okay. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this book, 21 Ways to Read a Tarot Card. It's fantastic. And it's not a book you want to just kind of read. It's like you work it. If you really want to go deep. So, okay. But this was when it clicked for me. So in reading what Mary K. Greer has to say about the 6s, 6 is the second perfect number of the Pythagoreans. The sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3, perfect in that creation was complete on the 6th day. 6 represents emerging consciousness and purification. Okay, here it comes. As a hexagram, it consists of 2 opposing triangles, symbolizing fire and water, bringing an integrated awareness of both spirit and matter, thus promoting reconciliation. Right? Thus, it is associated with sex and generation, and considered also a marriage number in that it results from multiplying 2 times 3. It forms the number on surfaces on a cube. What the heck did I do with that card? Okay, I lost it. How did I do that? Well, anyway, you saw it. You saw those red. How did I lose a card? The red triangles, the fire and the water, the triangles right in between or in the middle of that circle of pentacles. I've lost my mind. Okay, I know I've got it in here. This is the nice thing about having 2 of the same deck. When I read that in this Mary K. Greer book, I was like, what the? And I immediately pictured this card. I grabbed it. I looked at it. I was like, this woman knew what she was doing. Holy Moses, did she know what she was doing? Okay. So, yeah. So I love this. And I have been seeking out decks that I can really work with the numerology and the elements more. Yeah, it's just, I learned with Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. I think a lot of us did, or are learning, depending where you are in the process, are learning with Rider-Waite-Smith imagery to begin. And I'm really finding they really overlaid onto the tarot like these occult divinatory meanings with their images that don't always correspond with the numerology and the elements. Sometimes it's like, how does this have to do with a 3? Or how does this have to do with swords or pentacles, or whatever it is. So yeah, so, and I will probably do some more reviews of decks that I'm loving, that I'm finding I'm much more able to read. And the thing I like about the numerology and the elements working that way is you're deeply rooted in your knowledge of those things, right? The more you understand it. But it's also very open for, it can be a range of things. And so you're really tapping into your intuition. And for me, it's really about tapping into my intuition, which is my connection and communication with source, right? So it's not just, oh, this card means this, so therefore blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, it does something totally different. So love this deck for that reason. So, okay, one other thing to know about this deck is that, and I'm sorry, I'm really going crazy that I lost this card. But I found a pen in my chair cushion. All right, so the majors. The majors in this deck are also not Rider-Waite-Smith. And for people who aren't super familiar with the difference between Rider-Waite-Smith and Marseille, I've seen people say like, oh, it's Rider-Waite-Smith based. It's not. The majors are essentially like Marseille clones. Marseille majors and Rider-Waite-Smith majors have a lot in common, right? Some of them look almost identical, but some of them are pretty different, right? So here's, I pulled out a few of the more obvious examples. So the Magician, okay, with the table and the hat and the feather and the, like, looking way more like your stereotypical magician, right? That is more Marseille. The Fool, having that look more like a jester, okay? The Sun, in Rider-Waite-Smith, it's that naked little boy, right? Riding on a horse, and a lot of people think it's really creepy. Yeah, I love this Sun card. This is one of my favorite Sun cards. Really, really beautiful. Also, the Lovers. Get that. Okay. Death. We don't have the guy up on the horse and the flag and whatever. We've got this sort of Grim Reaper dude, right? That's Marseille. The High Priestess. Empress. So hopefully that gives you a good idea. Oh yeah, and the Strength, the lemniscate in her hat, and the way she's holding the lion's mouth, right? These are Unescape. No, that's not right. Yeah, that is right. Okay. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to go over. I think I showed you all the examples. So, yeah. So I love this deck, and I think if you are wanting to sort of move beyond your Rider-Waite-Smith imagery and you want to go deeper with the elements in the numerology and work in that way, and I might do a video on some of the things that I have done to work with those and to help me sort of put them together as I'm working with it. I might do that. But anyway, I think it's probably time now to just go through the deck so you can see the images, okay? And I'm going to try to do this quickly. Here, let me see if I can. Okay. Sorry about that glare. Let's see if I can get that off. I love the colors. I really love the artwork, which is funny because if I did a video of like my top 5 or 10 favorite decks, like most of them are not going to be like this bright and colorful and this kind of like happy kind of art. Not that I'm like sad and morose or whatever. I don't know, but like some of my favorite working decks are the Raven's Prophecy, the Wild Unknown. I recently acquired the Naked Heart Tarot, which is possibly my favorite. So yeah, lots of that simplicity, just a little darker too. So this just speaks to a different part of me. And why won't you focus on Sorry, I feel like it's blurry, but I'm having a hard time doing anything about that. So I'm trying to put the deck right up against my face because I feel like it's wanting to focus on my face. Yeah, I just love that sun card. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so you will see the Pentacles. Green, 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 green. Some of them are in buildings. Some of them are outside. You see lots of trees. You can see rocks and dirt and some. All of the princesses are bare-breasted, and I remember reading in the book that has something to do with like innocence and that sort of idea. I love this. The Princess of Pentacles. You can see the clouds in the sky, right? The clouds and the birds. Yellows for air and swords. Yeah, this one has like a little bit more going on than every once in a while she'll throw one in that's just got a little bit of something going on. And just today I was looking at this one and I was like, okay, so it's like after the battle, right? After that conflict in the 5, you come to the 6s and we've got resolution, but you know, we can sort of see the traumatic aftermath. And then I kind of see that one sword rising above, you know, in sort of that, like that would be the victorious one. I don't know, just some thoughts I had on that today. So it's not, I mean, it is a pip deck, right? Like it's pips with scenery. Yeah. Ooh. So sorry. Oh no, I messed the whole thing up. And here's, you know, a 10 in a complete circle, which I feel that, you know, kind of works for either a 10 or a 9. I love the queens in this deck. Come on, focus. I find I get a little bit mixed up sometimes. You really got to pay attention. Couple of the kings, like not that king, that dude looks pretty old, but like the King of Wands we're about to see. That dude, I can mistake him for the knight if I'm not paying attention. So here we've got fire, we've got volcanoes, we clearly have a suit of fire. Okay, I really don't know what's going on, why the wands are done this way. If you have any thoughts, I would love to hear your comments. So that one's been a stumper for me. I really love this 10 of Wands. So full and luscious. I love this Queen of Wands with her unicorn. I love her. See how that King of Wands is like super young, and I confuse him for the prince. Okay. Final suit. See, and you've got like the 2 cups sitting on the table with the 2 chairs. Like, you know, you can kind of get the sense of that union, that partnership, the 2 people sitting down for a meal together kind of feeling. So again, pips with scenery that you can get a lot of meaning from. And the elements are just so clear. I'm literally putting these up to my face because I just don't feel like this wants to focus on anything but my face. I guess oh, there we go. I've been doing it wrong the whole time. Sorry. Not gonna redo it. And there we have that beautiful 9 of Cups in that circle of completion, right? And then we have this beautiful 10 of Cups just overflowing, right? The overabundance of the energy of the suit. Love it. Look at this princess riding a dolphin. Beautiful queen. Yeah, I just love the queens in this deck. Love, love, love them. Okay. So there you have it. Little bit of a review and walkthrough of Wisdom Seekers / Truth Seekers Tarot. So I would love to know your thoughts. Yeah, it's worth getting. I think it ranges in price between like probably $11 and $16 on any given day on Amazon. And I don't know where else you can get it. I don't see a lot of reviews about it. I don't see a lot of people talking about it. But definitely I feel it is a deck worth having in your collection and really working with, especially if you're working with enhancing your knowledge and understanding and connection with the numbers and the elements and suits. So I guess that's all I have to say about that. And I welcome comments. And I don't know, hopefully I will do this more often. I always say I want to make another video soon, and then it's like a month before I get to it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. One day I will have enough subscribers to have like my own little like URL or whatever for my channel. Maybe by the time I'm 50, that'd be sweet. So anyway, thank you and have a happy day and happy tarot reading, my friends.